It's my pleasure to invite to the microphone Mayor Dee Margo, the mayor of El Paso, Texas, our host mayor, and I will then pass the microphone to our Vice President, Brian Barnett, the mayor of Rochester Hills, Michigan. Mayor Margo.
Jud Burgess here. Last few days have been very tumultuous for not only El Pasoans, but pretty much all of America. But particularly here in El Paso because of the Tornillo boys camp, the tent city that they're building there that currently houses around 400 boys. They're starting to fill it up, and it's scheduled to expand to 4,000. Of course, Donald Trump supposedly, well, he did sign an executive order, but we don't know where that's going to go. I mean, he can do anything he wants, and he can show his little, I just signed this, but what does that mean? I mean, there's a lot of fine print in these things, and Republicans are very good at confusing the issues and finding loopholes and exploiting them. But what I'm doing here in this video is I'm inviting you to watch the mayors who came here to protest the children who are being separated from their families. I mean, this is an American tragedy. This is something that does not reflect who Americans are, but it is partisan politics.
Using children in order to deter or dissuade folks from coming to our border and seeking asylum is unjust, it is wrong, it is immoral, and it is un-American. We are better than that. This is about children. The reason that we're here today is about the children. And that was true when our community spoke. It was true when we started this trip to El Paso, and it is still true today. There are over 2,300 children separated from their families. We don't know when they're going to get unified. There are thousands of children that came to this country unaccompanied. Many, if not most of them, have families in this country. They should be with their families. Children do not belong in cages. They don't belong in cages with or without their parents. This started out about children. It remains about children. And it is about children as we move forward tomorrow.
The pain of knowing our government will not tell us the truth. We're going to go over there all together, representing cities from all over this country. We fully expect, tragically, we fully expect to not be told the truth. We fully expect to be turned away the way senators and congressmen have been turned away, just trying to get the honest truth about what's happening to these children, just as all of you have been doing. It's painful that I had to find out in my own city yesterday. I walked into a center, a social service center in East Harlem, to find that 239 children who were taken from their parents under the family separation policy had been sent 2,000 miles away. And they don't know when they're going to see their parents again. I walked into a classroom, almost 40 young children from Guatemala, trying somehow to find some normalcy. Their teachers trying to help them. These kids have been traumatized.
Dee Margo, of all people, was asked to host this summit, and so he's basically a tour guide to Tornillo. And I find it very ironic, very humorous that we'd have a mayor like Dee Margo, who is on record for referring to the wall that Trump wants to build as the freedom fence, referring to undocumented immigrants trying to find asylum and a better life here in America as illegals and riffraff. I find it very ironic and very funny that he would be the person, and as a Republican, a card-carrying Republican, that he'd be the person that welcomes these people into our corner of America. And so watch this video. It's very telling. I've often said that Margo's out of his depth as mayor here in El Paso. He's lived here, I hear, almost 40 years. Doesn't know any Spanish, never bothered to learn. Really doesn't understand the culture and doesn't really care about the culture in terms of acknowledging our 83% Latino makeup. He really doesn't pay much attention to Mexico. And so I really don't think he's doing a very good job of representing us. Watch his words.
It's my pleasure to invite to the microphone Mayor Dee Margo, the mayor of El Paso, Texas, our host mayor, and I will then pass the microphone to our Vice President, Brian Barnett, the mayor of Rochester Hills, Michigan. Mayor Margo.
Thank you, Steve. It's an honor and privilege for El Paso to host this group. By way of introduction, we are the largest U.S. city on the Mexican border. We are the 6th largest city in the state of Texas. We are the 19th largest city in the United States. We're the nexus of 3 states, New Mexico, Chihuahua, and Texas, in 2 countries, in 1 region of 2.7 million people. We are the border and have been so for over 400 years. We are the largest bilingual, bicultural, binational community in the world. This is where immigration should be discussed, not in Washington, but here on the border. And I'm appreciative of the opportunity to host my fellow mayors.
So, here's Margo, just towing the party line, to keep playing it safe, doesn't say anything of any weight, of any emotional weight, basically comes up with a time-hogging explanation of what El Paso is. Everybody already knows. He doesn't need to promote El Paso right now, telling everybody that we're on the nexus of three states and another country, and that, who cares about that? Right now, all people care about is that our kids, these kids coming in from Mexico and Honduras and Guatemala and everywhere else, are reunited with their parents. That's what people want to hear. And so compare Margo and the things that he says with every other mayor that's up there in front of that mic, and he just failed miserably. He does a terrible job of representing El Paso because he doesn't get El Paso.
I can echo and reiterate what Steve said, but at the same time, this is neither a Republican nor a Democratic process. This is something that needs to be handled out of Washington, D.C. Immigration is all-encompassing. It's not just the fact that they're separating children in an inhumane manner. It's the fact is that we need to reconcile and resolve our immigration process with DACA, with the undocumented immigrants that are here today, and we need to improve our visa process. I heard it today of a particular Congresswoman talking about the tax bill, talking about immigration and the fact that the Goodlatte bill was limiting legal immigration, and then she pivots to the tax bill that was passed earlier this year and the fact that we don't have enough workers for jobs. Well, legal immigration will help solve them. So they need to get their act together, they need to develop some intestinal fortitude, and they need to move forward to do things that they've talked about for over 30 years. So we're pleased to be here in El Paso. As I say, we are the community that represents, that is the poster child for immigration and bicultural relations, and it has been for over 400 years. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Mayor Margo. Mayor Brian Barnett, Vice President of Council Mayors.
He cops out. He basically says, well, I could repeat what you're saying to the previous mayor, but instead he goes into some diatribe of Republican talking points about how we need to get immigration settled and, DACA this. And I mean, we already know that. But here's Margo avoiding the issue altogether, the humanitarian crisis that is happening right here on the border in El Paso, Juarez, Tornillo, all along the border. He's completely ignoring it and politicizing it. He says he's not politicizing it, but just listen to what he says. It's completely politics. It's Republican politics. He's like a fish out of water surrounded by all these mayors. And yeah, there are some mayors that call for immigration reform, and Lord knows we know it. But they look at the human side of the issues that are going on here in America. They look at the travesty. They look at the black eye that we've received on the world stage because of our fearful leader, Trump, and his policies. He doesn't get the fact that we have 60,000 undocumented immigrants living in El Paso amongst us. They go to EPISD. They help EPISD get money. They're good students because they want to learn and do a good job and have a better chance at life. He doesn't understand the fact that they're working amongst us and contributing to the economy in El Paso, that they're contributing to the safety of our city. Not the wall, by the way. He doesn't understand the fact that El Paso is the most important border city anywhere along the California southern tip of Texas border. It's all business to him. It's all politics. It's all Republican talking points. He thinks everything can be solved by doing it that way. And so there's no heart here. And I'm just disappointed. And I would imagine a lot of other people are, except Republicans and Trump fanatics. But anyway, watch the video. These other mayors have some incredible things to say. They understand that just because Trump signed an executive order doesn't mean that it's all finished and Republicans are going to play nice with people and treat them as people instead of animals in cages. Not by a long shot, folks. Everybody is all saying like, oh, Trump's our hero. And the kidnapper has come out and is expecting thanks from everybody because he's setting the hostages free. It doesn't work that way. So anyway, watch these people, watch these mayors of other cities that really get it and understand. These are not border cities, by the way, but they do understand what immigrants contribute to American society, and they understand that we have to treat them as people that are worthy of coming to America. Everybody is, by the way. But in Trump's America, no. Make America great again? Not by a long shot. Thank you. Until next time.
Every one of those children has families, parents that they have been separated from. We have seen the horror to know that children are being parceled out like they are commodities throughout the country in the dead of night. They have no idea who their parents are. So every American should know nothing changed for that executive order except for the words. We must stand strong until the action change, until those children are reunited with every parent, until the policy at the border changes, until we fix our broken immigration policy, and until we as a country recommit to the values that founded us, that we welcome people, we are built on diversity, and that we will be a better nation going forward when we recognize the promise and truth of America, which we are breaking every day with this policy of this administration. Thank you.
We've seen, like our fellow Americans, the heartbreaking images and stories, heard the cries, seen an infant torn away from his mother while she was feeding him, a 10-year-old with Down syndrome mocked on television, a toddler who is responsible for changing the diapers of an infant because there's no mother or father around.
Like so many of you and citizens across the United States, I have watched with great sadness and horror as we have seen the implementation of a policy play out across these nations' airwaves and throughout our country.
What we see here today is a tragedy. And thankfully, the right thing happened yesterday. But there are a lot of right things ahead of us that need to happen. We need comprehensive immigration reform. We are hoping as mayors that this tragic event here and us coming together will serve as a catalyst for a movement in this country to finally get comprehensive immigration reform. The next thing is the dreamers. There are hundreds of thousands of people in limbo, not to mention their parents. And people in my city, tens of thousands of people in my city living in the shadow. We cannot take part in our community. That is something that we have to fix. That's why, mayors, we deal with this. That's why we're coming together today here in El Paso to get this started, to get this movement started. This today is a catalyst. Thank you, Steve.
I'm the mayor of a majority-minority city. I'm a mayor of a city that looks like and is the future of America. We're a sanctuary city. We're an immigrant-friendly city. And we believe that diversity is strength and that our culture unites us and our values unite us. And let me ask you a question. How many of you would like your children sleeping in one of these tents tonight? As a father, I know I would. I know that more than 300 mothers gathered last night in Santa Fe to say that they care deeply about these children. These are our children. These are all of our children. And we need to take responsibility for what happens to them, and we need to love them the way we love our own children. And the the president has signed an executive order. This is the same president who began his campaign by declaring that Mexicans are rapists and murderers. It's the same president who has run on the idea of a wall to separate people rather than a bridge to connect people. He has said he still believes in his zero tolerance policy.
As a son of Cuban immigrants and a father of two, I've been appalled at what we've seen and heard and read. It's tough for me to leave my 2-month-old daughter to be here. It hurts me to be separated from her. I can't even imagine the pain that parents are feeling and the trauma that the children are going through. There are still a ton of unanswered questions. When are these children going to be reunited with their families? What kind of conditions are they living in? Why are we, a bipartisan, nonpartisan group, being denied access to these facilities? What's there to hide? And there are facilities across the United States. I tried to gain access to one in Homestead and wasn't allowed to. And I'm going to try to continue to gain access to the one in Homestead when I return to Miami. There are a lot of questions. We are here to get answers, and we're hopeful that those answers will reflect the morality and the ethics that this country was founded on. We're a country of immigrants. That is what made us strong and what makes us special, and it's something we shouldn't run from, we shouldn't hide from. It's not a partisan issue, it's a humanitarian issue. Yo soy hijo de 2 exiliados cubanos, soy padre de 2 niños. Estoy horrorizado en pensar que hay niños que no pueden dormir junto con sus padres esta noche. Nosotros todavía tenemos muchas preguntas sin contestar.
Let's be crystal clear. This is more than just politics. This is more than the dysfunction we've grown accustomed to from Washington, D.C. This is a moral crisis. This is a humanitarian crisis. The United States of America is the greatest democratic nation in the history of the world. We are a country that upholds the unwavering values of inclusion, compassion, and respect. We are not a country that stands idly by as children, mere babies, are used as bargaining chips to advance any political agenda. We're better than that. We need to pursue policies that speak for love, grace, mercy, and human dignity. The nation's mayors are here today to lend strength and a bipartisan voice to the fight for a more just and humane immigration policy. And we'll do everything in our power to appeal to the better angels of our nature, to make sure that all of us can play a role in making sure these children find their ways back into their parents' loving arms.